Hey, what up, Firelife fam? Yes, I am driving, but I'm not focusing on the phone a whole lot, so I'm just going to be talking while I'm driving. Anyway, wrapping up approval, talking about, first and foremost, about how God's approval is number one and should be the main one. Then also talking on the other side that even though God's approval is number one, doesn't mean that you need to reject anybody else's approval. Accepting approval is not a bad thing, it's an okay thing. And then now lastly, I wanted to talk about false approval, meaning in the sense of just because somebody supports something you do and approves of something you do does not necessarily mean what you're doing is okay. One of the reasons that that was brought to my attention, this past weekend I went to a dance convention, and one of the choreographers was flamboyantly gay, and that in and of itself wasn't really the issue. The issue was he was basically just saying do whatever you want to do, as long as it doesn't harm anybody else. And so basically, he's saying, I just approve of whatever you do, just as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else. And I thought about that in my standpoint. I'm married and I've got a son, and I was kind of thinking, well, what if I am just really lustful? Like, what if I lust after other people? Some people will be like, hey, it's okay to think other people are hot as much as you want. Just as long as physically you don't do anything, even though Jesus says that, the thought itself is just as much as the adulterer itself, the one who actually did it. So anyway, so the reason why I say all that is because, just be careful. As much as I said on the other video, it's okay if someone else accepts you, or I should say approves of what you did. You also need to be careful that, people don't give you false approval, because if they're actually looking out for you, if they are for your best interests, then they'd be willing to let you know, hey, that's not what you're doing is not good. What you're doing spiritually is just tearing up your life, So anyway, so that's it. I wasn't going to go too far into it. I could go 100 different directions, but I just wanted to lay it out like that. Be careful for false approval. Just because somebody is supporting you, or just because you're putting yourself in a circle of people who would support you. Obviously, if I'm around church folks, they won't support me, cussing up a storm, or, going and getting drunk, every weekend or whatever, or sleeping, like if I wasn't married, sleeping with whoever I want to, just as long as I was quote-unquote in love. So be careful that you don't surround yourself around people who purposely, gives you false approval. So that's it. All right, bye, life.